We are in his district. When he heard that we were having this event, he reached out because he wanted to come share the view from Washington and tell us about the work that he's doing to advance childcare and make sure it's on the agenda in Washington. So, Congressman, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, and thanks for giving me a few minutes. This is personally a passion project of mine long before I entered Congress. There are very few policies that are such obvious winners for everyone involved as universal child care, because obviously it's helpful to the parents, it's helpful and vital to the kids, but it also is incredibly helpful to the economy overall. And so I think it's great that Etsy is hosting this and that you all are here to talk about it, to hear about it, to hopefully lend your support to it, because it is essential that it's not just elected officials, it's not just advocacy groups, but it is a broad swath of the business community as well that recognizes the value. Now, you obviously recognize the value if you can retain your employees. And if all the training and the work that you have invested in your employees you can continue to benefit from. And given that the statistics range a little bit, but there are more than 1 million women, generally far more women than men, some men as well, but more than 1 million people who drop out of the workforce because of childcare issues. If they were able to stay in the workforce, that benefits everybody, and especially it also benefits the economy. And so I have 5 kids of my own, so I know how important this is. And I'm a founding member of the Congressional Dads Caucus, which we created 2 years ago, in large part because family issues were all too often deemed to be mothers' issues, women's issues. And we, as dads, obviously have kids and recognize that this is a joint enterprise. This is a joint effort, and it should not just fall to moms and women to be advocating for policies that are essential for families. So there are 3 pillars. One is the early child tax credit. Second is paid family leave, and third is universal child care. And those are the 3 pillars of the Dads Caucus, because those are right now, arguably, and we could debate it, but 3, if not the 3 most essential, 3 of the most essential policies that will make the biggest difference for the most amount of Americans. And so this is something that we're continuing to push. Safety net programs, investment in families, in non-billionaires is not a priority right now in Washington, D.C. But what is interesting about this is there is more and more bipartisan support for child care, child tax credit, for some of these policies and programs that traditionally Republicans have not supported. Even in the big bill, which cut health care, cut food benefits, it did increase the early child tax credit by $200. Still not where it should be or where it was when it cut child poverty and by 40% during COVID, but it's an indication of where this issue is going. And I really do believe that part of getting it over the finish line is to have a really broad and diverse support group of ranging, from all over the spectrum to push forward this policy as good policy. And it's something that I think will have to be implemented through corporate America, right? Where are we gonna put all of the childcare centers? Well, a lot of them will have to be based in or near some of your companies or other large companies. And so it's going to have to be a public-private partnership where everyone's going to have to be invested in it. But the benefit to all on all ends of the spectrum are really exciting. And so what I'm thrilled about is, you've had folks here today. I know the governor is a big supporter of it. It is a lot easier to get stuff done in Albany than it is in Washington, D.C. But what we need in Washington are examples of successful programs at the state level, none more important than New York, in leading the way around the country for innovative policy and policies that work for families and work for corporate America. And so I am certainly thrilled you're all here. I'm happy to be here myself to lend my support to it. I hope that our folks in Albany will push this over the finish line, because the one thing that would be really, really helpful to me as I advocate for it is to have better data, to really be able to understand how many people benefit from it, what the outcomes are for the children who now are getting high quality child care, early child development, and what are the benefits to the overall economy. There are some studies out there, but it's not really detailed or in depth. And if we had a test case with New York as an example, we would get all that data, and assuming that it proves out to be as we suspect, that's a very persuasive argument to make on the federal level. So I appreciate you all giving me a little time, and thank you very much for being here, for being invested in this. Remember, win, win, win. We don't get those that often, but this is one of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Congressman.